sweet friends! Thank you for clicking on this video. This is my first YouTube video, so hopefully it's all gonna go okay. My name's Genevieve, and today I thought I would show you guys how to make your very own super cute bunny. This little guy has been made using the art of needle felting, so if you're new to needle felting or if you're not sure where to begin and you would like to have a go, this tutorial is going to be great for you. I'm going to show you everything you need and how to go about making your very own one of these. So I guess let's get started. Okie dokie, so you are going to want to start off with a mat. This is a high density foam mat, but you can also use a sponge. The other option is to use some polystyrene. These, I believe, come with some kits that they sell on Amazon, but my preferred choice is a Hessian mat. And Hessian is a biodegradable material, so it's a little bit better for the environment than your foam or polystyrene mats. And these you just fill with whatever you like, so I've gone for rice. And the purpose of these mats is just to protect your needle and also the surface underneath. In terms of the needle I'm going to be using, this is a Clover pen, and this actually has 3 needles attached to it. This is going to be great for bulkier shapes and moving things on a little bit quicker. But the main needle I'm going to be using today is a 36 star needle, which is the one with the cream colour top. Also going to be using the 38 regular, just for some finishing off, but mostly the cream needle. Next, you're going to want to grab some wool, and this is a carded Batt in white and also in pink. And then we've got some black baby alpaca top and pink merino top. So let's get felting. So we are starting with the bunny's head. I'm gonna grab a pinch of wool and shape it into the head shape that I've got on this template here. And once I'm happy with that, I am going to go ahead and start stabbing. Now you want to make sure that your needle's going up and down, that you're not bending it or pushing it too far into the wool. And also you want to make sure that you're constantly turning the shape, because if you only focus on one side, you're going to get a very lopsided bunny head, which obviously we want to avoid. And because I have to attach this to another shape, as you can hopefully see, I am leaving sort of a tuft of wool, which I'm holding on to. I'm leaving that loose and unfelted so that I can then felt it into the next shape. Okay, and once we're kind of happy with the shape, once it's a nice round head shape, we do just want to check how firm the shape is. When we squeeze it, we don't want it to totally collapse, but we don't want it to be so firm that it doesn't have any give, so it wants to be sort of nice and springy to the touch. And now we're moving on to the body. Exactly the same process as the head really. We're going to grab a chunk of wool and we're just going to shape it with our hands first into a nice firm body shape. Again, you can use a template just to check that shape. Now, when you're thinking about the shapes, you also want to consider the fact that as you stab, the shape gets smaller. It sort of minimises as you're matting the fibres and squishing the air out of the body. So you want to consider that it's probably going to diminish by about 30%. But it is always easier to add more than it is to take away. So if you're not too sure about how big you need to start with the shape, I would generally advise maybe starting a little bit smaller than what you think you need to, because it's never going to hurt to add, but taking wool off once you've felted it is a little bit trickier. And I'm basically just repeating the process that I did with the head. I'm going to keep rolling it so as not to focus just on one side, and as you can see, there's still quite a lot of air in the body when I squished it then, so I've got a long way to go yet. Needle felting is quite a slow process, but I also find it very therapeutic. So you're going to want to just keep stabbing that bunny's body, and you will get there eventually. Such a violent hobby. I am also going for more of an egg-shaped body. Obviously the head was round. This is kind of more of an egg shape, so you just want to bear that in mind as you're stabbing, focusing one end being slightly thinner than the bottom end. And I'm using the Clover pen tool here just to speed things up ever so slightly. So hopefully we've now stabbed our body enough that we're happy with the shape and it's nice and firm. And we can give ourselves a great big pat on the back because we've now finished the bulkiest part of this bunny, and now it's just onto the sort of smaller, more detailed sections. Now we're moving on to his little bunny legs, so we're going to grab another pinch of wool, and what I'm doing here is I'm just using my hands to encourage the wool to take shape. I'm going to stab, and I'm going to keep lifting the leg up and rolling it just to further encourage the wool. With this leg and with all the legs, you want to make sure that you are lifting it off from the mat because there is a real danger of you felting the leg into the mat and sort of struggling to pull it off, so it's always worth lifting it every couple of stabs and rolling it just to keep it separate from the mat. If you haven't already noticed, I have a plaster on my little finger, which wasn't there at the start of the video. Unfortunately, needle felting needles are super sharp, and when we're working on small shapes like this, it isn't uncommon to stab yourself with those. You can actually purchase leather needle felting finger protectors, but I just prefer to be able to feel the wool. And as you can see, I have done the process 4 times, so I've now got 2 little bunny arms and 2 little bunny legs. They're all pretty much the same shape, so it's just a case of repeating that 4 times. Moving on to the tail, I'm going to grab a pinch of wool and again just shape it into that tail shape I've got on the template. And we're going to stab again. And this is going to follow the exact same process as the head. I want the shape to be nice and round, but I also want to leave that little tuft of wool in the middle so that it's going to make life a little bit easier when I come to put the bunny all together. And that is the tail finished, and I'm just going to check that it looks right on the bunny's body. Okay, moving on to the muzzle, and again grabbing a pinch of wool, shaping it into that sort of muzzle shape. And you've guessed it, we're stabbing again. This shape's kind of more of an oval shape, I guess, so it doesn't matter too much. Also, when I attach this to the bunny's face, I am going to encourage a sort of slightly triangular shape to it, so as long as it's vaguely round, you can fix things once it's attached to the face to create character for the bunny. So that's finished now, and I'm just going to check that that's going to look okay on the bunny's head. Next up, we're going in for the ears, so I'm going to pinch off a bit of wool, and a very similar process actually to the arms and the legs. I'm going to shape the wool how I want it, and bearing in mind the wool does get smaller, I'm going to start off with a slightly bigger ear shape, and I am almost flat felting these ears, so I'm stabbing directly into the mat, which is why again it's really important to just make sure that I am lifting the shape every so often so that it doesn't get too stuck to that mat. And my bunny isn't complete without 2 ears, can't leave him just with the one, so moving on to the second ear and the exact same process again. Another handy tip is actually to stab horizontally to the mat, just to catch all the fibres that are on the top of the ear, and that's also going to help stop it from sticking too much to the mat as well. And the last shape on our template is the belly, so I'm going to grab the pink carded wool and I'm just going to again shape this into a vague belly shape. I'm sticking with an egg shape, but you could change things up. You could make it more round if you wanted to. Could also use different colours at this point, it's entirely up to you. And once we're fairly happy with that shape, we now get to move on to the exciting bit of constructing our bunny, putting him all together. So I'm going to grab my bunny's body and I'm going to grab the belly shape, and now I'm just going to start the process of attaching those two together. And all I need to do for this is just stab it straight on. The fibres are going to mesh together quite nicely the more I stab, and I do want this to be quite integrated with the body, so I am going to stab it for quite some time. And now he needs his little feet, so I'm going to grab the 2 arms and 2 legs, and as you can see I have left the tufty bits on the end, so I'm going to use my spare needle just to work out where I want to position those arms and legs, and I'm also using some little scissors just to make sure that I'm not adding any extra bulkiness to where his arms and legs are going to be jointed in place. And again, for his legs, I'm going to repeat the exact same process using my spare needles to position the arms and legs and carrying on with the stabbing. We have our bunny's body. So cute! Now adding the muzzle to the face. So again I'm going to use the tufty spare bit just to attach the muzzle to the head shape. And this is also the time where I get to shape the muzzle how I want it to look. So as I said earlier, I'm going to sort of make it a little bit more triangular. I might make it a little flatter, just trying to give the bunny as much character as I possibly can. Of course, my bunny needs a nose, so now I'm going to use the pink merino top, which is nice and soft, and I'm just going to roll it into a tiny, tiny little ball and going to stab that straight onto the muzzle part in the centre. And again, how big or how small you make this is going to add character to the bunny. It's completely up to you what sort of size and shape you want to make his little nose. So his face is coming along. I think I might try and add a little bit more bulk to his head because his head's looking a little bit small for my liking, but I'm probably going to do that once I've got my bunny all together so I can see his proportions. But now he needs some eyes. He needs to be able to see. So again, grabbing that top and rolling it into teeny, teeny, teeny tiny balls. And then stabbing them into place. And again, how big or how small you'd like to make these and whereabout you position them on the face is all going to change the character of the bunny, so it's completely up to you, however you want to create his little face. Have fun with it. Moving on to final touches now really, I'm just going to add this pink merino top onto the insides of his ears, just to add a little pop of colour. And in terms of technique here, I'm going to be using that horizontal stabbing method that I used to make the main bulk of the ears, just to try and make sure that not too much pink is being stabbed through to the back of the ears. If that does happen, you can always add more white onto the back or just leave it depending on your choice, but I do like to try and keep it quite neat, so I am going in for that horizontal stab. And hopefully you can see, if my camera will focus, that the back of the ears, there isn't any pink bleeding through there. And now we're going to attach the ears to the bunny. So again, like I attached the arms and the legs, I'm just going to use my spare needle to position the ear where I'd like it, and my main needle to stab that in. If you're still again looking to create different characters, if you're going to make multiple bunnies, you can play around with the positioning of the ears. You could also make him floppy-eared if you'd like, but I'm sticking to an upright ear position just for this tutorial. On to the final stretch now. We've just got to add his head. So I'm going to use that tufty bit that I left free and use those fibres just to stab into the body. And no bunny is complete without his little bunny tail, so I'm just going to attach that now. Again, using that wispy tufty bit to attach the fibres to the body. Because I'm not quite happy with the shape of his head, I am going to go in and just add some extra around his face, just to bulk it out and make it a little bit bigger and a little bit cuter. Again, this is completely optional. You might prefer to go for a more slimline bunny, but I like my bunnies chunky. Have our final bunny. He's totally complete. He's got all his body parts attached, and my original bunny has a new friend. Awesome! So hopefully you guys have now ended up with your very own bunny. I now have two, so I'm going to have to try and find somewhere to put these guys in the house. If you enjoyed this tutorial, if you would like to see more, or if you have any suggestions on what you'd like me to make next, please feel free to pop it in the comment section somewhere down here. If you want to keep up to date with my next tutorials, obviously you know the drill, subscribe or follow. It'd be great to have you guys on board, and fingers crossed I can bring you something fun and super cute very soon. Thank you from me and the bunny. If you enjoyed this tutorial and you wanted to give this bunny a go but you're not too sure where to start, I have some kits for sale in my Etsy shop, and these will contain everything you need, everything you've seen in this tutorial in order to make your very own bunny. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and hopefully you'll see me and my creations again very soon.